Thank you for having me.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to OSA Friday for Females. I am here with the lovely Andrea McMillan. She's a very busy lady, so we're doing a pre-recording. For those of you who may want to do this, please send me a message. So Andrea, welcome.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. How did you get interested in cooking food and then going on to becoming a chef?
Well, so my mom is an executive chef for Marriott, and my uncle's also a chef. So I kind of grew up like going into the kitchens with them and like going to work with my mom and helping out in those kitchens. And I just found my first job was in a kitchen. And then I just started working at a pizza place, kind of just like as a counter person. And I found a job for Marriott as a cook, and I just kind of fell in love with it there and just started moving my way up in Marriott. So it just kind of fell in my lap a little bit, but I ended up really, really loving it.
Which Marriott?
So I worked for Westfield Marriott in Chantilly, Virginia, and
Okay,
I worked at Dulles Airport Marriott for just a year.
very cool.
Mhm.
Now what is one of your favorite recipes?
So pretty much for everybody, the first time I cook for them, I always make barbacoa tacos. It's really easy. It's just beef roast in a crock pot for 8 hours. Beef stock, Corona beer, shallots, garlic, cilantro, cumin, chili powder. Just I love cooking Mexican food. It's kind of like birria tacos a little bit.
I'm gonna have to have a meeting with you and try that out. It
Yeah,
sounds like it tastes delightful,
it's
so.
so good.
Um, what are some pointers you can give for mixing certain spices?
So, there is a chef, and her name is, I hope I don't like butcher the pronunciation, but it's Samin Nosrat, and she has a book called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, and those are the things that I always go by when I cook. So it's like if you're cooking something, you always taste as you go, and if something's like too salty, you add sweetness. If something's too spicy, you can add sweetness. If something's really rich, you add acid like lime, lemon, things like that. So it's pretty much all about balance.
Hmm,
That's
that's
always what I go
interesting.
by.
And,
Yeah.
and does that apply with people who are also trying for weight loss? Like, is there a certain way to mix spices to incorporate weight loss?
Yeah, so like pretty much if you use any spice, as long as it doesn't have salt in it, you can just like go crazy with spices like cumin, chili powder, any type of like pepper. Um, those usually won't make any difference. That's why you can make really good food, and still be healthy because you can add tons of flavor and like fresh food can like fresh fruits, vegetables, they can add a lot to it too. I think there's like misconceptions about healthy food being like not as good, as like salty fast food or whatever. But there's tons of ways you can spice things up. And I like really spicy foods, so I use a lot of like pepper, like a lot of pepper spices.
Have you gone to Bonchon Chicken yet?
Yes, I have, and I love banchan.
I know.
And they have really good pot stickers there too. Their
Oh
pot
yeah.
stickers are really good.
I go for the spicy chicken, man.
Oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
It is the good stuff. So you used to do martial arts. What can you tell girls or women who are thinking about doing it but are hesitant? And what did you gain from your training?
So, I would say that it's a really great opportunity for especially younger girls, to like build up your confidence a lot. And there is a lot of networking involved. Like you meet a lot of people. Like I met you so long ago and we're still in touch.
Yeah.
And it definitely built up my self-esteem. I was just in incredible shape when I was in Taekwondo. I was just very, very active. And I would just say go for it. It's so worth it. Everything that you learn, you take with you because I've been out of it for a while now. And I still am taking with me everything that I've learned there in everything that I do, like even in my job and like smart goals. Just you learn so much just for life in general. Just not only self-defense, but everything, you know.
That's amazing. That's some
I feel
great
like I've
feedback.
taken a lot. Hmm.
That's awesome. I'm glad you learned so much from it and that you're still able to utilize some of it in your, career now.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, where do you want to go as with your chef career?
So I actually would love to open my own place with my family, like with my mom. We're actually talking about it right now. We're talking about moving to possibly Texas. We'll see. But we're looking to possibly open a restaurant on a lake with really good lunch and brunch. Just we really want to be our own bosses and like share our recipes with people, and that's like the main goal right now. That's actually like the next step for me,
That's
um,
amazing.
is to open our own place. So, but right now, I'm focusing on what I'm doing right now as a sous chef for Eugene's Sausage and Fries. Um, so they're looking at expanding really soon, so I'm looking at possibly having more stores, and so that's actually really exciting. So that's where my focus is right now.
Well, if you aim high, you achieve more, right?
Yes,
So it's cool
exactly.
that you want to have your own business and that you might be expanding where you're currently at. I mean, that's the best thing, right? Like to have
Yeah,
expansion, to have your name known and to keep moving forward and to think of the next best thing for yourself.
definitely, always, especially in this industry. It's always evolving and changing. There's just so many opportunities.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Um, what were some challenges you had to overcome during your chef journey?
So probably the biggest challenge was last year when COVID hit. I was furloughed. So I was furloughed in March and then they eliminated my position in October. So I had to find something completely different pretty much because I was in hospitality and that industry is just like really not doing well right now. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to go fully into like looking at restaurants, and it was actually really hard to find a job because it's super competitive right now. It still is. Um that was definitely the biggest thing because it was so devastating. Like I would just loved where I was at. I was looking forward to moving up there, but I mean, everything happens for a reason. Like I'm in a good spot right now. Um, and I definitely feel like I overcame it for
That,
sure. I feel like I'm in a good place now.
that's
So,
awesome.
mhm,
And I think what you can take from that as well is that, like you said, things happen for a reason, and maybe this is an opportunity that can teach and give you new skill sets that you may have not received where you previously were at.
definitely,
Do you
definitely.
do you like the crew that you're with? I mean,
I
is
do. I love my crew. I love being a manager. Um, and since it's such a small company, I've been given so much opportunity to move up and like really make my mark for them. And I am definitely doing more um like utility wise, because when I was in Marriott, we had people who did our dishes, we had people who like cleaned our fryers and mopped the floors, and now that's all me and my staff. So it's very humbling, you know?
yeah.
And I'm actually just like loving it. I really do love it.
So where is this fabulous restaurant? So if any of our viewers want to go and check out what you're doing, can come and check it out.
Okay, so we have the location that I manage right now is in Manassas at Eavesdrop Brewery off of 28. They
Oh,
also have a location in Haymarket, and they just started their food truck at Aslan Brewery in Herndon, Virginia. So Northern Virginia right now, that's where we're at. They also have a deli called Ethel's Deli in Haymarket as well.
wow. Well, we're gonna have to go visit.
You have to. You have to come to Eavesdrop. It's such a fun time. It's like family friendly. Bring your dogs. It's a really cool. It's a really fun time.
Well,
for
I,
sure.
I'll make the time to go out there. I'm gonna get
That'd
your
be great.
schedule and come out just to annoy you.
Yeah, I'd love it. I would love that.
Let's continue. What was one of your most memorable experiences?
So, in my career so far, because it's a short career, I got to compete in something called Masters of the Craft for Marriott, and it was a culinary competition. It was I don't know how many locations, but it was for all of the Americas, every Marriott that participated. And I got past the first two rounds, so represented the DMV at the finals, which was just amazing. I met so many people, um, and I learned how to think on my feet. And I got to meet Mark Bittman, who's a food critic in DC. I met Bill Marriott. It was just amazing, especially after only being with the company for a couple years. It was really, really awesome. And I'd love to do it again.
And being such a young chef as well, and
Yeah,
to
I was
have
one of the
that,
youngest there.
yeah, and to have that opportunity, you should be really proud of yourself. I could see why that was a memorable moment for you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was just amazing. I'll always remember that.
How
Always.
often do they do that competition?
So they actually kind of like so they had small competitions before that. But it's yearly, so it's like once a year they do that competition. It's food and beverage, so you have like the chefs, and then you have bartenders who are also doing a competition simultaneously. And the biggest one was the first one so far, which was in 2019, I believe, is when I competed, or 2018. Sorry, I can't remember the year exactly. But it was put on hold last year, so hopefully this year they can start it up again because it's such a cool thing.
Now that you're not part of Marriott, do you still have the opportunity to do it or no?
I haven't really explored that option. I don't think so. I think it's like about like their staff and like building up their people and like showcasing the people that they have, which I definitely respect. I mean, I would love to go back to if my boss called me and they're like, hey, like from Meredith, they called me and asked for me back, it would be very tempting. I would want to go back and do all of it again. So, but it's just not the time right now for hospitality. So go
Yeah.
support hospitality if you can because they're having a hard time right now, really.
Well, you should see if there's any like food competitions like out there, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
to that you can partake in that are similar but on a grander scale. I mean, if you were able to do it with Marriott, who knows, maybe there's like bigger ones out there that you
Yeah.
can do even more so with.
Yeah, I've heard of some charity competition events, which would be like really awesome. So probably when COVID like calms down, I'll definitely look into that because I've seen some opportunities for those things. Even chili cook-offs, like those types of things would be so much fun. I'd love to do something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, who was or is your greatest inspiration?
So that would probably have to definitely be my mom. Just because I feel like I'm following in her footsteps a little bit. And I can empathize with how difficult it was for her to come up because she didn't go to culinary school. There weren't a lot of women in leadership culinary roles. So she was kind of like breaking that barrier and she taught me like almost everything that I know. So, and I'm still constantly learning from her, and I really admire her and her work ethic and what she's done already in her career. She's won Chef of the Year for Marriott twice. She's just done really, really amazing things, and I'm excited for her to get back to work so she can start, because she's still furloughed right now, but she's definitely my biggest inspiration in my career for sure.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
I'm glad she paved the way because like you said, you don't see a lot of female chefs. Um, and I thought it was just so cool that, you have taken that path and being so young and achieving that success is such a great motivation for other girls who might be thinking about the same path.
Yeah.
I mean, it's two generations of paving the way for other female chef entrepreneurs in the
Definitely.
future. So keep up the great work.
Thank you.
If someone was to write a book about you, what would the title be?
It's like I've thought about that. And like it's such a hard question because I'm still so new into my career and everything. But I would probably have to say there's a quote by Wolfgang Puck, and it's my favorite quote. And it's once you've made as many mistakes as I have, then you can be as good as me. And I just feel like where I'm at now is because of the mistakes I've made and the things that I've learned from them. And I just know that like in this field, like there's always something to learn. And I just feel like I take my mistakes and I make the best of them. And that's a quote that's just always stuck with since I heard it. It's just always stuck with me. And I feel like if I had to choose one now, it would probably be that.
Yeah, that's such an important lesson for not just people at your age to learn, but anybody.
Mhm.
Because I always like to say, once you feel like you've learned everything, then you've really learned nothing, right? Because
Yeah.
there's never a moment that you should feel like you know it all, because there's always an opportunity to grow and to learn, whether it's from your mistakes or whether it's from somebody else.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. I
and
just like no matter how old you could be, like even Wolfgang Puck like still says it. Like I still make mistakes. I still have a lot to learn. Nobody knows it all, especially in a changing field like I'm in. Like it's always changing. There's always something new to learn. And I feel like that's just so important to remember always.
Yeah, and as a potential future business entrepreneur, you better know that there's always failures and you have to constantly be learning and be willing to learn and adapt to succeed and to grow.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what are, in your opinion, are 5 characteristics of a good leader?
So I said one of the biggest things is empathy to me because you have to understand who you're leading before you can actually lead them. I think it's important to be humble, like as we were just saying. Delegation is a really important thing, knowing how to delegate different things to different people. How many is that? Three.
Yeah.
Definitely focused. Focused on the task at hand, what you have to get done, and that just like shows people who are working with you, working for you, like a good example. For confidence for sure. Because if you have confidence in yourself, your staff will have confidence in you, and then it just comes full circle. And like when you have confidence, you're able to build up your staff as much as you can. And I found a lot of success in that already with the people that I'm leading. It's kind of like me emulating the confidence that I have in the kitchen is kind of just like just touching everybody a little bit. And it's just like really good for morale. And I try to have like a very happy workspace
Well, all
because,
of that is
yeah,
important. If you
right.
have unhappy staff, they're not gonna stay there. And second, like you're right. Like if they're looking up to you and you look like you're clueless, why are they gonna follow you?
Yeah,
They're gonna feel like they're
exactly.
failing. So yeah, I mean, you have to know that what you're doing is great and that you have the confidence in yourself to not only project it, um, but have inspire others. And it seems like you're doing that,
I'm doing
whether
my
it's
best.
yeah, whether it's through your social media or, at work, and you're very humble too. I mean, and that's great to see and what you've achieved at such a young age to be so humble about it. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Um, what would you tell young girls, women inspiring to be chefs now?
So I would just say like the best part of what I do is it's so rewarding. Once you if you send out food and you see people's reactions and people just enjoying what you're putting out into the world, that's just the very best part of it. And if I am being honest, it really is like a difficult thing to do is like working in a kitchen. It's just physically demanding, it's demanding of time, but it's so worth it. The networking is insane. You just meet so many people. And the thing about like cooking and cooking professionally is no matter what, if you do work in a kitchen, even if you work in a kitchen for like 3 or 4 years and you do something else after, you can take what you learned and just live with it forever. Like you're always cooking. Food is just always a part of all of us. And I think that, like, if you're looking to do it professionally, even if you're just trying it out, it's so worth it. And I just love the people in the food industry. They're just like a different breed of people. And especially when you work somewhere like I work, it's a brewery, it's really fun. People are there to have a good time, and it's just fun. And it's very rewarding. That's the one thing that I would say to people for sure.
That's awesome. And I'm glad that, it's rewarding and that it gives you all skill sets that you're right, like you can continue to use even if you decide to leave those
Mhm.
skill sets. I mean, networking, who doesn't need to network, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you need to network to get jobs, whether it's for your own business growth or if you're trying to get a job and you need to eat. I mean, we can't eat out all the time. I mean, as much as,
Yeah.
some people may want to, it's not something we
Yeah.
should. It's not healthy.
Right. It's very true.
Well, Andrea, this was such a great evening of
Yeah.
like learning about what you're doing and where you're at and I hope that you have inspired some other females to become chefs and follow their dream. And I wish you the best of luck in everything you have to do.
Thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you.
No problem. You have a great evening.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.